Our next honoree is receiving the Education Game Changer Award, and he is making history in American higher education. He is the first Asian American president to lead one of the nation's preeminent research universities, the University of Southern California. His leadership is deepening USC's global engagement and expanding what's possible for students, faculty, and communities far beyond the campus, right here in our own backyard. This is Beong-Soo Kim.
My name is Beong-Soo Kim, and I'm deeply honored to be appointed the 13th president of the University of Southern California. For me personally, this is an amazing full circle moment. Both of my parents attended USC as international graduate students in the late 1960s. And as a child visiting campus, whether it was to attend a football game or a concert, I remember the excitement and possibility in the air as Trojans set the bar for excellence and achievement.
I'm lucky that I got to work with President Kim before he was president, as we were in the trenches of crisis management together, and that's where you really see someone's character. Over time, I realized that where I was the chaplain who thought like a lawyer, he was the lawyer who thought like a chaplain. And that's the kind of leadership we need right now. An open-minded, open-hearted leader who sees and hears people, who walks alongside them in triumph and tragedy, who creates space for them, who selflessly serves them, and who makes them feel like they matter. It's clear that's what matters to him and also to us.
I think I bring to this role just a great respect for and appreciation for what our international students add to our community.
Leadership, in my view, is an immense privilege, and it's a trust. I wouldn't have agreed, and I wouldn't have been so excited about taking on this responsibility if I didn't feel excited every single morning when I wake up about where we're going and where we can go and how we're going to get there.
We think in Beong we have an all-star and a champion who is going to pivot from his prior life to our president. He understands also that we will only succeed going forward if we do this together and united.
Thanks to her USC education, my mom went on to become a third-grade public school teacher. I will always remember her dedication to her students and the belief she left me that there is no higher calling than education. While I've been fortunate to teach throughout my career, it's an even greater privilege to be back at the university where my parents were educated, enabling others to do their very best work. USC has always taken on the biggest challenges and opportunities, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
To introduce President Kim is David Bohnett, philanthropist, technology entrepreneur, and champion of civic life. Join me in welcoming David.
It really is my honor and pleasure to introduce tonight's education game changer, USC President Beong-Soo Kim. Beong joined the university in 2020 at a pivotal moment. We first got to know him when he was appointed as University General Counsel during the challenges of the pandemic. Shortly after joining USC, Beong was featured in various news stories highlighting his community spirit and passion. Together with his wife, Bonnie, in the depths of the pandemic, Beong was hosting impromptu music concerts on the porch of his home in Pasadena. Beong on cello, Bonnie on piano, providing neighbors with a rare moment of genuine connection and bringing people together. That desire to create connections has defined Beong's time at the university. What stood out immediately wasn't just his ability to navigate challenges, it was his clarity of purpose. From the start, he saw USC as a world-class university, a place that brings people together, advances groundbreaking research, and reaches around the globe with its positive impact. Now, after an exhaustive multi-month search for our next president, having interviewed top candidates in the country for the job, including prominent sitting university presidents and provosts, naming Beong as USC's 13th president was the unanimous choice for our board of trustees. We recognized in Beong a leader of accomplishment whose North Star are his values of transparency, honesty, and empathy. With initiatives like the Open Dialogue Project and the AI Strategy Committee, He has ensured that USC is preparing the students of today to be the leaders of tomorrow. Now, Beong is ushering in a new era focused on continued academic excellence, research innovation, and societal impact. Beong is laser focused on USC's mission, all while pioneering new and exciting ways to accomplish our objectives. It's my honor to present Asia Society's 2026 Education Game Changer Award to the President of the University of Southern California, Beong-Soo Kim.
So I want to begin with an apology to all of you who are here for the cello concert because I don't have the cello today. David, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Thank you for your leadership on the USC Board of Trustees, where you serve as the vice chair, and thank you for your leadership civically and philanthropy across Los Angeles and across the globe. I want to begin by recognizing a few other members of USC's leadership who are here today, including trustees Jamie Lee and John Eno, the Dean of the Ostra School of Dentistry, Yang Chai, the Dean of the Annenberg School for Communications and Journalism, Willow Bay, whom you may hear from later, and Bethany Montagano, Director of USC's museums, including the USC Pacific Asia Museum in Pasadena. Let me just say, it's so humbling to be up here to be recognized alongside real luminaries, not including myself, and such an honor to receive this recognition by an organization, Asia Society of Southern California, that I admire so deeply. Kevin Rudd explained some of this history that goes back 70 years, and it's a mission that he described that I think all of us in this room would agree has never felt more urgently needed than it is today. And for me, as with Ida, the mission resonates on a very personal level. My mother was born in what is now North Korea. As a child, she and her family fled south during the Korean War, eventually making their way to Hong Kong, where she attended high school. She had limited financial resources, but she was very fortunate to be connected with a family here in the United States who sponsored her to come to the United States for college. She worked her way through college, met my father, who was a graduate student there, and their apartment became a gathering place for other Korean students. They both went on, as you saw in the video, to attend USC as graduate students. While my mom didn't come to the United States with much money, she did come with a belief in the power of education, not just for herself, but for others. In fact, her dream, which seemed pretty impossible for an immigrant to aspire to, was to become a teacher. And that's what she became, a third grade teacher in the Los Angeles Unified School District, and she did that for over 20 years. During this time, we had a very fancy car, a white Honda Accord, which she adorned, as you would do with any fancy car, with a vanity license plate. And her vanity license plate read LV2 LRN, either live to learn or love to learn, depending on how you read it. My mom passed away early. In fact, she passed away at the same age I am now. But as she passed from this world, she also passed to me a reverence for education. If becoming a teacher was an audacious dream for her, I can only imagine how she would have felt about seeing her son become the president of her alma mater. My mother's story is just one tiny example, though, of the critical role that universities and educators play, not just in teaching students, but in connecting them to other parts of this world and giving them opportunities they could only have dreamed of. In March of this year, just a month after I became president, I visited Asia to meet with alums in Taipei, Hong Kong, and Seoul. In Hong Kong, I was fortunate to spend time with the family of Ronnie Chan, a USC trustee who, as many of you know, was the first Asian to serve as global chair of the Asia Society. In each of the cities I visited, the enthusiasm and desire to connect with USC
and with other Trojan alums was so powerful and palpable. In fact, my visit to Seoul coincided both timing-wise and location with the BTS comeback tour. And the excitement and energy in the ballroom where I was giving my Trojan family lecture or a speech was so strong that I actually thought that some of these people may have been mistakenly looking for the BTS concert and not to hear me speak. That's how powerful the feeling was. But seriously, this recent trip was a powerful reminder that institutions like USC don't simply extend, discover, and transmit knowledge. We create the environments in which people from completely different backgrounds can come together, sometimes for the first time, and learn from one another and become lifelong friends. At the start of every academic year, I like to go help students move into their dorm rooms. And I'm amazed by the places represented in just a single hallway. Riverside, Nashville, Singapore, Boston, Delhi, and I'll even throw in Sydney for Kevin. What an amazing experience to be living in a hallway like that, learning from people from places totally different from your own. Not only do students learn about the incredibly vast differences in cultures and backgrounds, they also learn how much, despite all those differences, we hold in common with each other. As president of USC and as someone who's benefited so profoundly from these cross-cultural intersections, I'm deeply committed not just to advancing USC's education and research, but also its role as a global connector, because you can't provide the best education and you can't perform the best research without having that global perspective. And I know that in this commitment, I will have the Asia Society as an incredible partner. Thank you again for this recognition, which I accept not so much for myself, but for the critical role that universities today play in promoting understanding, cooperation, and partnership with Asia and across the world. Now, at USC, we do typically end speeches by saying, "Fight on." Now, some of you may think that this is just a way we taunt UCLA and their football team. And that's partly true. But it's not really intended to be a message of belligerence, but rather of resilience and of connection. And so I hope that on this evening, you will all join me in saying, "Fight on."